Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today, Rings of Power episode 8. Really looking forward to this episode. In fact, I could say I've been looking forward to it for 2 months now. Ever since episode 1 came out, there are just questions that are still lingering. I, for one, am really curious about who Theo's dad is. I pointed out in a previous episode that there are symbols on his shirt that could only be from followers of Sauron or Sauron himself. Really, the sword, if you will, or key, in its realized form was printed on his shirt. So curious how he came to get that shirt, who sewed it for him, if his father is somebody of some importance to the show. And if he's going to be introduced in this show, or this episode, or if he comes in later seasons, or if he ever comes at all. Just curious who his dad might be. Of course, the biggest question is who is Sauron, and it seems obvious from the last couple episodes that that is going to be Hellbrand. They've loosely hit the plot points related to that character, and just curious. You know, they had him imprisoned in Numenor. He was somewhat influential to Pharazôn, even though it was really just one line spouted from his jail cell. And then it really seems with those loose plot points followed, now that he's going to Eregion, he's going to end up being Sauron. But there's a fundamental difference in his character here from my prior understanding from movie, Silmarillion, Unfinished Tales, Lord of the Rings. Really left me with the impression that Sauron is, like Adar said, was trying to heal Middle-earth. And Galadriel essentially described to him what human nature was. And that human nature and Middle-earth itself would require, I guess, you to plunge through the violence before you can get to the peace that should come afterwards. That's the way I took it. She kind of described to him that violence is an intrinsic part of Middle-earth and that it requires it. And that for one to actually fulfill their own self-journey requires them to go through that violence. So Hellbrand seemed to take her word for it and kind of agree to go back with her to Middle-earth because of that speech. And he even pointed out to her, what do you know of darkness? And so I'm curious, now that the Orodruin is blown up and she's seen some of the devastation afterwards, she's obviously taken that sum of guilt on herself, and maybe appropriately so. I don't know, I'm kind of curious how that resolves itself. The other big question is, of course, who is the stranger? So I'm still convinced he's Tilion or the Man in the Moon, only because it would be impossible for any of the Astari to be in Middle-earth at this time. There's been some reference to the two blue wizards coming down at some point in the Second Age, but it quite clearly states in Tolkien's works that the Istari, which would be the five Maiar that represented the wizards, I guess, Gandalf, Saruman, Radagast, Paladin, Alatar, they're all the Istari. But they don't come around till the Third Age. I know there's some mention of the two blue wizards coming in the Second Age, and maybe if Stranger ends up being one of the two blue wizards, I guess that could be. But none of the other three come around till the Third Age. That's quite clear from Tolkien's works, and so it can either be one of the other Maiar, which there are a countless number, or it's going to be one of these two blue wizards. But I really don't think it could be. We'll see how it goes. Really curious to see what other cliffhangers there are going to be. I'm thinking there is going to be a cliffhanger before season 2, and it's going to be a long wait. So we'll see how it goes. Let's roll it. Hey, he's all by himself now, huh? At least he's left with some good memories of the Harfoot, I suppose. Oh, is that Nori right there? No, that definitely is not Nori. They're just tricking him into following.
Nori.
Oh, it is Nori. What the heck? Oh. So obviously a Maiar. Only the Maiar are magic users, so this person has to be one of the Maiar. I hope they actually explain who these people are. We come to serve you.
Sauron.
Okay, that was my first guess for the show, but
Only there was some way of doing more with less. The sun itself began as something no bigger than the palm of my hand.
that's funny he says that
We're out of
because the
time.
Aryan is the person who holds that light of the tree, and is
Must
essentially
inform
the
High King of
sun.
our failure.
So yes, he's right to say it fits in
And
the
the
palm
elves
of
must
somebody's
prepare to
hand.
abandon these shores.
That somebody in this show seems to have very black hands. Maybe because they're used to carrying the sun. Oh, and here appears your salvation. Oh, and Elrond doesn't even know that she jumped the ship from to Valinor. Well, Celebrimbor, what are you gonna do with this piece of mithril?
Shouldn't you be resting?
What is this place?
Many gifts yet to give.
This was the workshop of Celebrimbor.
The master I apprenticed to used to speak of the wonders of your craft.
And who would have your
gemstones.
master been?
I've never seen anything like them. What do you plan to use them for? This is a peculiar ore. What is it?
Not enough.
Enough for what?
Please.
Have you tried combining it with other ores to stretch it out?
That wouldn't be suitable.
At the risk of sounding a fool, couldn't the right alloy also amplify those qualities? Might there not be some alloy to amplify the qualities of your ore?
I don't know. You might know of something there. Hellbrand, maybe?
Well, that is an intriguing suggestion.
Call it
A gift.
a gift.
Who would have thought? So Anatar is in the show. His name is not
Black flags will
Anatar.
fill
He is referred to as Anatar because that merely means Lord
It
of
will be our
Gifts.
duty to forge for him a tomb, granting him the immortality in stone. Draftsmen from across Numenor.
That seems
have
a
been
little
summoned to
sacrilegious.
practice his visage.
I would have to
Coming
say
days,
Iarion would
each
likely
of you will be
win.
Granted 1 hour with the king.
Young Miriel.
You're mistaken. I'm
Queen yet? No. But you will be. So know this. If the old ways of our people are not soon restored, our island will fall.
Mm-hmm.
Come,
he's
go
not-
on, but don't do as I did. I
He's
looked
not
for
going to
too
show
long.
her the Palantir, is he?
I cannot separate what is from what was.
I don't see how she can see this and not change her mind, but she is definitely not a believer in the old ways. Does she get to see the vision from the beginning or from where it might currently now be? I wish we could have seen that.
Object for all Middle-earth.
A ring. No crown.
Why a crown? You would place all that power upon the brow of one being? Perilous are these whisperings.
Sometimes the perilous path is the only path.
It was only in speaking with the Southlander that I
The
realized
low man? This idea was his.
we are on the cusp of crafting a new kind of power. Not of the flesh, but over flesh.
Yep, exactly. Galadriel's been suspicious of this forever.
World.
You are hereby commanded to disband the city and return to Lindon immediately. All of you.
Gil-galad doesn't even want to try, huh?
Your lands.
You know them already.
No? Yeah, your constellation.
It is called the Hermit's Hat.
The
A
Hermit's
pattern
Hat.
visible in but one place. Far to the east. The lands of Rune.
Well, this really kind of makes it seem as if he's one of the two blue wizards.
At last. Every being that walks or crawls shall be your slave.
And why would they take him to Rune for this?
Sauron.
It's a pretty bad idea to go messing with those three. The gal with the black hand has to be Maiar because she uses magic. The black hand kind of signifies to me that she could be Aryan, but I don't know. They're really being kind of cryptic with these three. Sadok? Oh no! No! What is Meteor Man waking up now? Yeah, this might be the trigger that helps him to remember who he is. Like they said, remove the veil. Oh, there he goes. He seems to remember how to use it a little bit. Yeah, those other two don't seem like they're Maiar. They're just followers. But this one here, she's definitely Maiar. Yeah, if this is not Tillian and Arian, I don't know who it would be. I'm still convinced, and even the throwing knives that the gal is using look like crescent moons. She's the person Celebrimbor referred to as carrying the light of the sun in her hand, because the sun was just originally some small light of the Tree of Valinor. The one Maiar who was, you know, charged with the care of the sun, she carried around the sun like a ball of fire in her hands. This has got to be Arian here.
Take it. We need you. Please just take it. Close your eyes. It'll only hurt for a moment.
Nah, it'll probably hurt longer than that. Oh, did he just put out your fire? Mm-hmm.
From shadow you came. To shadow I bid you return.
Oh, he's talking all of a sudden.
He is.
I'm good.
He's the other, the Istar. Excuse me? That makes no sense at all to me, but I'll have to think on that one a little while. But he couldn't have just killed that gal. She's a Maiar, so she won't be dead.
Now, if you don't mind, I'd just like to sit a while. Watch the sun come up.
What a strange scene. Like I said, I'm going to have to think on that one a little longer. That he seemed to somehow expose some sort of a moth. And the fact that I suppose they were some sort of a wraith. Really not sure how to take that.
What is it?
Is Tar
What do you
Palantir
see?
already gone? Oh, funerary ships. Long live the Queen. That must have been the wrong alloy, huh, Hellbrand?
Perhaps that is enough for today.
Yeah, Hellbrand needs
Perhaps
to
we've
come
been
and do
pushing
it for
ourselves too
you.
hard.
Pushing ourselves too hard. Supposing we've been using too much force.
Yeah, just let it
Meaning
happen
what?
naturally. Yeah,
Quickly.
just giving all sorts of
Dismantle this.
gifts today,
We'll start
Hellbrand.
My lady.
There is no king of the Southlands.
We're making two.
2 crowns.
Not exactly. Come, see for yourself.
2 rings.
Not until you tell me who you are.
It's about time
You
this
really are.
conversation finally happened.
The last man to bear your crest died over 1,000 years ago.
Yeah, and you stole it off him, like he
You
said.
had no heir.
I told you I found it on a dead man.
Oh, he did, yeah.
No.
Yeah, he did. You know who he is. Come on,
Tell me
Gladriel.
your name.
You know his name.
I have been awake since before the breaking of the first silence.
Yes, he
In that
has.
time, I have had many names.
And I killed your brother. Sometimes you have to touch the darkness.
My old dagger. You've kept it safe all this time.
That dagger, I'm still convinced that it was a gift to Finrod from Sauron a long time ago.
To complete the task that I could not.
Used to corrupt Finrod and Galadriel.
Your task was hunting Sauron.
Was it?
My task was to ensure peace. You needn't lie to them. Simply let the work proceed.
Yeah, is this Sauron impersonating Finrod, or was Sauron impersonating Finrod even when she was a child?
Our past meant nothing. Weighed against our future.
There is no such future.
Yeah, I think you took her out of context a little bit, too. Yeah.
You would make me a tyrant.
I would make you a queen. Fair as the sea and the sun. Stronger than the foundations of the earth.
And
Oh,
you,
interesting. That's where she gets that line from. When
Dark
she's...
Lord.
No. Not dark. You need me.
I should have left you on the sea.
A sea that you were on because the elves cast you out. What will they do when you tell them that you are my ally? When you tell them that
Sauron the
lives
Deceiver.
because of you!
And he pulls her out one more time.
Deceiver!
Galadriel, stop. Elrond. It's Elrond.
Prove it.
Brienne, what has happened?
You gonna... Yeah, you can't tell the elves now. Well, I guess, yeah, you would deny the salvation of the elves. No?
We must make 3.
I need gold and silver from
Yeah.
Valinor.
Give me that knife. Well, that is so awesome. So that explains totally the reason why the 3 aren't corrupted by the 1.
Now I must go to Rune.
They're wrong about your name. What if they're wrong about that too? Or lying, or...
What they said, I knew to be true with a certainty that I can't explain.
They called you something else. Istad. Is that your kind?
Istar.
Yeah,
In
what?
Tongue, that means wise one. Or wizard.
I guess we're Paladin or Alatar then, if we truly are an Istar. Is she gonna go with?
So it's a bit like an adventure.
Learn it's just a journey. No adventures. They must be shared.
Well, let's go on an adventure then. Come on, Nori. Let's go. Oh, they make her a backpack. Yeah, get going. It's time for an adventure.
Something bigger now.
He needs you,
I think so.
and you belong out there.
Let's see what Rune looks like. I've been waiting for this for a long time.
Well, they're all waving at you.
If I turn around, I won't ever be able to leave.
Well, then, perhaps it would be best if you lead off.
Yeah, let's go. Which way?
There's a sweet smell on the air this way. When in doubt, Eleanor Brandyfoot. Always follow your nose.
It's weird they're kind of throwing in Gandalf lines. It has to be more misdirection. This character can't be Gandalf. No, they said one of the Istar, though, which also doesn't seem very realistic. There might have been 2 Istar in Middle-earth and the Second Age, but... And I guess they did go into Rune into the east, but... Gandalf is definitely not in Middle-earth in the Second Age. Yeah, let it go, Galadriel. I think this is really awesome the way they conceived of making 3 rings based on Galadriel's misgivings about Sauron. And that explains why they felt that they needed something to protect or isolate these 3 rings from the others. That there was some suspicion there, but she couldn't outright say it because then she'd deny the salvation of the elves. But I thought only 1 ring was made out of mithril. Why is Galadriel so reluctant to do this, Elrond? You can see in the elves what they can't see for themselves. Too late. That's awesome. Oh, he knows. She knows he knows. Yep. Made a deal with the devil. So now we're, going from here. We've got to make, 9 rings for the men, 7 rings for the dwarves. Well, that was the entirety of Season 1 of Rings of Power, and I have to say I really enjoyed this show. Really, really enjoyed it. Some of the questions I wanted to get answered didn't get answered in this episode, though, and unfortunately it sounds like we might have to wait a long time before we get some of those answers, but obviously Hellbrand is Sauron, it's admitted as much, and now we've got some explanation for how the rings were created. It does explain some of the things coming out of the Lord of the Rings movies, I suppose, and that, Galadriel, when she's tempted by Frodo's one ring, when they're looking into the mirror, she actually uses some of the same words that Sauron says to her, I guess, to tempt her at this point in time. She reflects upon that temptation, I guess, when she gets to the mirror in later scenes with Frodo. So really cool that they added that in. I guess she couldn't deny the plan once it was underway because she would have denied the salvation of the elves. So that does kind of speak to some degree about, I guess, Galadriel's feelings in the later parts of the movie. Kind of confusing a little bit, but, she did convince Sauron that he needed to conduct violence, in other words, that there needed to be a path towards peace that wasn't just straightforward, and convinced him to go back to Middle-earth, and I guess convinced him that he could indeed heal Middle-earth as he had set out to do long before. Heal Middle-earth is kind of a subjective term, and obviously his idea of healing is a little bit different, or the methods by which he would heal is a little bit different than I guess maybe Galadriel or the rest of the elves might think. But really neat. Going to the Stranger or Meteor Man, I'm still kind of convinced that he's Tilion, only based on the fact that his enemy, as depicted in this episode, was also a Maiar. And I don't know, unless somebody tells me that there are magic users in Tolkien's universe that aren't Maiar, I'm going to be convinced that she is a Maiar. She's the person that Celebrimbor mentions as carrying aloft the light of the sun. And she does that. She was assigned by the Valar to do that, and until she came to Middle-earth, as discussed in some of Tolkien's work, she had been carrying aloft that light of the Tree of Valinor, otherwise the sun. And with that, Tilion, or the other Maiar represented here, they really are trying to make him appear to be Gandalf, especially dropping the term Istar, but there is no way that Gandalf is in this show in the Second Age. I know there's been some discussion about the books and their reference to Olorin being in the Second Age, but that's really, I think, a misunderstanding when they mention in some of the Tolkien notes that Christopher Tolkien put together that Gandalf wanders, or Olorin wanders Lorien. They're not talking about the Lorien that's in Middle-earth. They're talking about the Lorien that is in Valinor. So maybe I'm totally off base here, but in my opinion, if they're saying that this person is one of the Istar, then he's one of the Blue Wizards. But that begs the question, who is the gal that he defeated in battle right there? She's a Maiar, or I'm just way off on what Tolkien said about Maiar, because I don't know of any magic user that's not a Maiar. She's got to be one. And with that said, in her black hands, I would suspect she to be Aryan and he Tilion. Now that they say he's an Istar, that's not confirmed. He didn't seem quite convinced of that. He just said, oh, it means wise one or wizard. But then he threw out Gandalf's line about following the nose, and I think that's more just misdirection. But, for them to not use Gandalf in a show about Lord of the Rings, I think that might throw some people that are unfamiliar with Tolkien's works a little bit off, to just say there's another wizard, we don't know who he is, we'll mention his name in later seasons when the years go by and we get to season 2. But I guess to me it would be totally implausible to be Gandalf. It's either got to be one of the Blue Wizards, which leaves the question, who could this gal possibly be? Unless she be the other Blue Wizard, and he just defeated her for her to come back. And obviously she will come back, because if she is a Mire, she didn't technically die when he turned her into a moth and butterfly and they flew away, I guess. But curious to see where this is going to go when they do finally come out with a season 2. It's really going to be a long wait. But anyway, I hope you guys like watching this with me. I really just enjoyed the heck out of it. And huge Lord of the Rings fan. Like I said, I can separate the book and the show to some degree, but I have my problems with Lord of the Ring movies, but those are more based on the character changes, not the plot points. They followed loosely the plot points in the Lord of the Rings Peter Jackson movies, while kind of changing entirely all of the characters within it from what was represented in the book. Gosh, really curious to see where it goes next. So hoping they release some kind of trailer early. We'll see. Anyway, please give a like, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time.